Well, it's time for Grandma Reads a Story, and this is a is a joint program with the Foster Grandparents Program of Oakland County, sponsored by Catholic Charities of Southeastern Michigan and the Pawnee Public Library. So today we have with us Grandma Janet, and she's going to read a couple stories. So take it away, Grandma Janet.
Okay, our first story is All the Way to the Top, How One Girl's Fight for Americans with Disabilities Changed Everything. And this is by Jennifer Keelan-Chaffins and Annette Bay Pimentel. The words are by Annette Bay Pimentel, and the pictures are by Navi H. Ali, and the foreword is by Jennifer Keelan-Chaffins. Okay, so it starts out, she was born with cerebral palsy, meaning that she would always need a wheelchair to help her get around every day. And so anyway, she just began to realize that she was just going to be, confined if she didn't find a way to get out there and in spite of her disability, to get out there and play and work and get things done. And so it starts out, it says, Jennifer Keelan may be small, but her voice is mighty. Yee-haw, she's on the horse. So she's got a lot of courage there to ride a horse. She's not just sitting around, feeling sorry for herself. And so Snowball the horse responds, speeding up from a walk to a trot. Jennifer loves to go fast, but she knows she'll soon have less time for riding since she's finally old enough for school. She can't wait to make new friends. She's ready to go. The school's not far. Jennifer rolls outside down the sidewalk to the corner, but stop. A 4-inch curb is a cliff to someone who uses a wheelchair. Her grandpa eases her wheelchair over the curb. Though the drop jolts Jennifer, she makes it to the building. But stop. The school says Jennifer doesn't belong there because she uses a wheelchair.
Doesn't seem fair.
Instead, Jennifer and her mom find a different school that says she can attend kindergarten, but only for part of the afternoon when lunch is over. As Jennifer rolls up each day, everyone is already busy. She has to figure out what's going on and how to join in. Since most kids have never met someone who uses a wheelchair, her classmates are confused and even a little afraid. And so this little girl says, "You'll never be one of us." And probably the others agree. They're not sure. Jennifer knows they're wrong. She's just a friend waiting to happen. But how do you change someone's mind? She's not sure, but she's not about to give up. Jennifer and her family hear about activists who are working to make sure people with disabilities have access to public places like schools. They want to know more, so they attend a strategy meeting. Jennifer has never seen anything like it. The room is full of grown-ups with all sorts of disabilities. Some use wheelchairs, some use canes. None of them are sitting around waiting for things to change. They're shouting, laughing, and planning a big protest to get wheelchair lifts on buses. They turn to Jennifer. "You want to come?" "Yes." She wants to go. Downtown, Jennifer rolls to the microphone and tells her story. She leads marchers through the streets, chanting, "The people united will never be defeated." It feels good to speak up for what she believes in. She can't wait to do it again. She's raring to go. She protests in Phoenix, Arizona, rolls through streets in San Francisco, California, and signs in Montreal, Canada. The demonstrations don't always change people's minds, but Jennifer is used to that. Even when her neighborhood school finally agrees she can attend, she and her classmates with disabilities aren't allowed to eat in the cafeteria with everyone else. That hurts, but she keeps going. Working with other activists revs her up, yet she can't help noticing that she and her sister are usually the only kids out there raising their voices. Still, she can't leave all the protesting to grown-ups. She knows firsthand that children with disabilities get ignored too, so she keeps speaking up. Jennifer and her family watch the news for updates on the ADA, but reporters never mention it. She switches off the TV in frustration, wishing she could change reporters' minds on what's worth talking about. Again, and I mean, instead, the Keelans get their updates about the ADA when activist friends call. It's bad news. Members of Congress say the law will be too complicated and too expensive. They say it's just not worth it. Since the news station is ignoring people with disabilities, Jennifer and her friends are determined to find another way to make Congress hear their voices. It's go time. Her family buys plane tickets to Washington, D.C. As they march down Pennsylvania Avenue, Jennifer has never shouted louder. What do we want? The ADA. When do we want it? Now. That's the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yeah.
Finally, they reach the US Capitol, but stop. A mountain of steps block Jennifer and other people using wheelchairs from the building where Congress makes laws. Grown-ups slide out of their wheelchairs and start pulling themselves up the steps. They will make sure members of Congress know they're here. Jennifer's heart races. This is what she has been shouting about. I want to climb the steps, she says, but stop. The grown-ups think she's too young. You can't do it. Jennifer knows this is not just about her. It's about her friends at school who were shut out of the cafeteria at lunch. It's about millions of other kids she's never met who get stopped at every turn. Jennifer wants to speak up for all the kids with disabilities who aren't there. I need to climb the steps, she shouts.
Wow. It's very determined. Climbing steps.
She slides out of her wheelchair, scoots along the sidewalk to the bottom of the stairway and puts her hands on the first step. She hauls herself up. Tiny bits of dirt and rock dig into her skin. She drags herself up another step. The crowd roars. Reporters surround her with cameras and microphones, recording her gutsy climb. I'll take all night if I have to, she vows, and she keeps heaving, hauling, dragging herself up those steps. She keeps going all the way to the top.
lot of steps up there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of steps to crawl.
And so here we
Oh,
see that
type it.
where she is, she's climbed up to the very top right here. Pictures of Jennifer climbing the steps flash around the world. Reporters start talking about the ADA. Members of Congress see the news, listen to the activists, and finally pass the ADA. Laws like the ADA don't change things overnight. Entrances have to be rebuilt, sidewalks redesigned, buses re-engineered. Slowest of all, minds have to change. So Jennifer will continue shouting and waving signs, organizing and explaining. She will continue fighting for what she knows is right. I was looking here and I didn't see that. Did you get to see this page right here? I was reading and I didn't realize that the screen had gone blank.
Oh. No,
I mean, it wasn't
no,
blank, but it was just the little white tag. Okay. So here it is. Laws like the ADA don't change things overnight. Entrances have to be rebuilt, sidewalks redesigned, buses re-engineered. Slowest of all, minds have to change. So Jennifer will continue shouting and waving signs, organizing and explaining. She will continue fighting for what she knows is right. Jennifer has places to go, and nothing will stop her now.
No. No, nothing.
Okay, the road
So
to the
there's
top.
a picture of her.
It's a picture of another little girl, right there. But this is Jennifer here, and this is she's a blind little girl, and she's walking with her. So we have a huge list. I don't know if I should go on with that or just take out certain portions of it.
Yeah, it's just a couple portions that catch your eye. So.
Okay. So anyway, the goal that she had was she was fighting for access for everyone, for anyone who's got a handicap that can't get around like the rest of the people. And she fought. She was fighting for the rights. It was the rights of people disabled who need to get around and continue their lives just like the rest of us. And that's what she was fighting for. And so they wanted to caution that you can't catch cerebral palsy. She was born with this, that affliction. And so anyway, that act, the ADA, the Americans with Disabilities Act, was finally voted for in the Capitol.
Okay.
And so,
hey,
but
wow, what an inspiring story.
So anyway, then the gist of it was it says when activists see something unfair happening, they need to take action to fix it if they can. And so there's no minimum age to become an activist. So it's just a good thing to do if you see that people are suffering because they can't get along or go where they would like to go.
Wow, what an inspiring, I mean, for a kid, she looks to be pretty young in those pictures. So she's gonna pull herself up to the top. She's gonna keep on going.
Yeah, this is a story about
one of two.
It's about Jennifer, and it just said that anyway, it says the ADA has been law for 30 years, so this was a long time ago. But anyway, thanks to her, people coming down the road, they're able to continue on and have good lives. This kind of tells the whole story about Jennifer. So it's in this book. It's a long story, but it's interesting.
Yeah. Don't really think of how many things you have to change so that people with disabilities, things like change the entrance ways. You have to have buses have to have lifts so that they can go ride in a bus. And all the curbs, they have to chisel out part of the curbs. They have to go over this curb. That's if you got a disability, that's very difficult or dangerous. But she said the most hardest thing was to get minds have to change, so that's the hard part, where people have to not define you or see you based on what you can't do, but see you as a person who has things you do well and things you don't do as well. So it requires people to think differently about others. And, so, wow.
This is a very good book. It does go on. It continues and tells a little bit about her life after this was over. So it's been 30 years, but anyway, she worked for a long time in her life to bring the disabilities of people and getting around to make it public, so people would know, and they wouldn't be afraid to be friends with people that had disabilities, to just appreciate what they have, but appreciate that this person is working to overcome certain things.
Okay, so the next story is.
So this question is, it says, have you ever seen a flower, by Shawn Harris? And I think everybody's seen a flower, so I don't know of anybody who hasn't. But anyway.
But have you really seen it?
Yep.
Really seen it?
Have we really taken a good look at a flower and known what all is there? Okay, here's a little girl going through a field of flowers with her dog. And now she's gone and she's down in the clover, and I'm sure everybody's heard of a 4-leaf clover. And here's, looks like a tulip, or a rose, not yet blooming.
She's looking up close.
And so she's knelt down and she's looking to see what's inside the flower, not just how the flower is on the outside. Have you ever seen a flower using nothing but your nose? Breathe deep. What do you see?
Oh, based on the smell.
Raindrops made of honey. Raindrops made of honey. The knees of bumblebees. A fancy lady, dancing babies at the Royal Jelly Jubilee. Have you ever seen a flower so deep you had to shout and listen for an echo just to know how deep it goes? And did you wonder if you wandered down between its golden columns and into its corridors? Sometimes on the nature series on TV, they show the insects that climb down and they go way down at the base of the flower to get the nectar and whatever else that it is that they eat. And each one has a different appetite for different things. So they all get to take advantage of these flowers. So if you wandered down beneath the golden columns and into its corridors, who you might meet. Maybe a tiny queen. It could be an ant queen, maybe, or some other insect.
Yeah. Wonderful imagination.
Have you ever felt a flower? Do a flower petal's veins feel like the veins beneath your skin? Have you ever pricked your finger or fallen on your knee and seen the brilliant color of your life? I know everybody's seen this.
Oh, yeah.
Life is inside all of us.
A little drop.
Life is all around us. Now put your hands on your belly and say, "This is my stem." I have the stem.
Yeah.
Now sip a drip of water and stand very still. Feel it slip and trickle all the way down to your roots. Do you feel yourself growing? Do you feel yourself stretching toward the sun, ready to burst? And bloom.
Oh.
Have you ever been a flower? I mean, really been a flower? And here we've got the life of the flower down here. Finally, here it is. It's not a flower yet, but you know, we've got the leaves, we got a few petals there. So that's the end of that book.
Okay. Oh, so you ever really seen a flower? Feel what it'd be like to drink and feel it go all the way to your roots and look inside and maybe see the queen.
Just like the story of just like the story of life. I mean, we all start with just a small seed, and then we grow, and so do the flowers, and then eventually some vegetables will grow. So growing is just part of life, and so, finally at the very end, you know, we have achieved what we were supposed to achieve.
So thank you so much, Grandma Janet, for reading those two stories. They
Okay,
were delightful.
You're very
and
welcome.
So we'll see you again next week where Grandma reads a story.
All right. Okay, you have a good week.
Thank you, you too.